Hey guys, Harrison here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a dirt cheap Farnsworth fuser just like the one you see here. They're really awesome, they're fairly easy to make, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it in today's video, so let's get into it. Okay guys, today we're going to make a Farnsworth fuser. So when most people think of fusion, they think of massive reactors and how they're still trying to achieve fusion. Well, we have achieved fusion, it's just we haven't achieved fusion where we get more energy out than we put in. So this one, you're definitely going to put more energy in than you get out. So it's just a cool science experiment to do. And essentially I'll show you guys how this thing works. So here we have a vacuum chamber, which the whole apparatus is contained in. Obviously you're gonna need a vacuum pump to evacuate all the air out. And you have a low pressure gas in here, usually deuterium gas, but I don't have any deuterium gas. So I'm just gonna be using low pressure atmosphere. So I'm probably not gonna get much fusion at all, little to none at all. And then you have two cages in here. You have an inner cage and an outer cage. I have mine made of copper, but you can make it out of steel and tungsten, any kind of metal like that. So essentially you need a high voltage DC source. I'm using this ZVS driver with flyback transformers. And essentially it acts as a particle accelerator to cause fusion. So the little air molecules, because we took most of it out, are just floating around here, and they come across this cage and they pick up a charge on the positive electrode. So just as electrostatic force says is that positives repel and negatives attract. So it picks up a charge, it's repelled from this positive, pushed over to the negative, then it's also attracted to the negative, and if it misses this inner cage, it will land in the middle and fuse together. And then you have fusion. So practically I have it drawn out here, comes, picks up a charge on the outer cage, comes in, misses the inner cage, collides together, and has a chance to do fusion. So it's a very simple device. It's really cool. And yeah, so let's get into the build and show you guys how. Okay guys, now we got the technical aspects of how the fusion reactor works. I'm gonna show you guys how to make it itself. So first you're gonna need a glass vacuum chamber. I found this at a local craft store for around $13. And make sure it's fairly thick just so you know it can handle the pressure of the vacuum. And then I'm just gonna use this silicone sheeting here to make a gasket around the bottom. Probably cover that wood in there with some aluminum so it doesn't off gas. And that should create a pretty good seal because you need a strong vacuum in this. And once you get that, you're gonna need some glass cutting bits. You don't exactly need this. You could run the piping through the base, but I'm gonna go mine through the glass. So these are just diamond edged glass cutting bits. I'll show you guys how to use it on the glass later. But you're just gonna need some of these. I got these for $9 off of Amazon, a whole set of them. And then you're gonna need your brass fittings to connect everything. So here I have two of these, which are hose fittings. These are both for electrodes. They're gonna come in to power the cage. I have this one right here, which is gonna be connecting to the vacuum hose. And then I have this to just let air back into the chamber. And then I have some vinyl tubing here that I just picked up. Different sizes to fit these fittings. And once you got that, you're gonna need a vacuum pump. Here I have a 2.5 CFM pump. I think it was around like $200. It's not the greatest pump. You definitely could do better. It's only a one-stage oil pump, but it does get the job done. Barely, but it does get the job done. And then you're going to need a high voltage power supply. This one's a little overkill. It runs about 80,000 volts and it runs off of 2 car batteries. It's just 3 flybacks in there set in series. And then I have a ZVS driver powering it all. It's all submerged in oil, made it myself for no more than $15. It's all scavenged from TVs. So you don't need one this heavy duty. You can get a smaller power source, but this is what I'm using for this video. And that's about all the materials you need, and let's get started. So now you gotta drill the glass, and the best way I found to do this is to just take a jug of some sort. This is Old Sweet T1, poke a hole in it and close the cap so the water doesn't flow out. And as soon as you undo the cap, it creates a stream of water. So you have to have a constant stream of water on where you're cutting to keep it cool. And I cut a hole in this board here, the size of the drill bit, and I set it on top. And then that is how you get your initial hole started, and then you let the water run over it. And that's about it. And you drill your holes and put all the fittings in. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, now that I got the holes drilled, as you see here, I put all the brass fittings in the holes. So now the only thing I do is go get some JB Weld. You can get it like Walmart, a lot of hardware stores have it. And make some of that up, put it on these joints here, make sure they're airtight, and you should be good to go. And you can use other glues to seal it, but I would recommend JB Weld. It's very good for vacuum chamber purposes. It doesn't off gas. And yeah, so I'm gonna go put some of that on and I'll be back tomorrow once it's cured. I'm back here and I've practically fully assembled the base plate of it so far. So what I have here is an aluminum plate that I just cut out to fit the center circle part. Then I took this silicone gasket here, I cut it out to fill into this ridge, put silicone under it from a tube, press that in to create that, and then I just silicone sealed around the aluminum here. And that created a perfect airtight seal for the bottom of the chamber for the glass to sit on. Here's the chamber. As you see, I glued it all together and I added some electrodes. Here is the vacuum line here. I just have it connected to there, connecting to the vacuum pump. And essentially I made these cages very easy. I just took some copper wire, bent them in circles. I just stripped it from a cable and then soldered them together to create these cages. There's really not much to them other than that. You can kind of design it however you want, and that's how I have it set up in there. And then I have the electrodes coming out of these holes, which then I can attach the high voltage leads to. So that's really all about it. I can see there's all the JB Weld. I've tested and turned this thing on and it's completely airtight, which is what you want. It does get down to a decent vacuum, not perfect, but does get down to decent. And this seal seems to hold great. So with that out of the way, let's get into turning this baby on. Before we get into this, I want to go over safety, because this is a very dangerous project and I don't want anyone to get hurt, so do not attempt this unless you are very aware of the dangers and know how to work with it. The first danger comes from the high voltage power supply. So this is 80,000 volts, which is overkill, and I'll explain. There's some cons to that in a second, I'll explain. But it is overkill. If you touch that, it would kill you. So that's one danger, is the power supply. Then you have the pressure of the vacuum. There's 14 pounds for every square inch on there. So if your glass tube gives way, it can create some nasty shards of glass flying. And another thing is radiation. So now we're not actually doing fusion. High voltage in a vacuum, when coming into contact with metals, can create x-rays. It's essentially how an x-ray tube works. The higher the voltage, the more penetrating and powerful the x-rays are. So I do have this Geiger counter here to measure the x-rays and make sure that I'm in within a safe range of myself. This does produce x-rays, and what I found out is they're not very penetrating at all. The glass stops most of them. If you're down by the base here, you will get some x-rays, which I'll show you guys later. And up by these brass fittings here is where you'll get the most. I got up to 38,000 counts by one of these, but the radiation only goes no more than about 2 inches in atmosphere. So it's not very penetrating. I would just stay away from the brass fitting points, because when a high energy electron hits the copper, it makes it release some x-rays. So yeah, that's most of the safety dangers there. So just stay safe. And I would highly recommend a Geiger counter. And I would not use high voltage power supply, but this is only a DC power supply I had, so I'm using it. But the higher the voltage, generally the more x-rays you're gonna get. So with that out of the way, let's turn this baby on, and I'll show you guys some readings with a Geiger. Now we just gotta connect our high voltage wires. This is the high voltage positive, goes on there, that's the outer cage. Then you have your high voltage negative, which is gonna go on this top inner cage here. Make sure all your fittings are sealed like that. Make sure it's good on the base. Remember, watch out for these wires, so they will be charged. And go and turn on your vacuum pump. As you can see, it's starting to pull the air down, and I'll come back to you guys when it is completely evacuated of air. Okay guys, now I got the vacuum down and I have started up the reactor. As you can see, it's a nice beautiful glow of the plasma there. Again, it's not perfect vacuum because it's only in halo mode. If you get down to a lower vacuum, you get something called star mode, which it actually emits light from the center. Almost looks like a star. Yeah, so that's really the fusion reactor. You can see the glass pearlescing real quick. The hot glue seems to pearlesce too for some reason. And if you really want to learn more about fusers and much better builds than what I have, I would recommend going to fusers.net. I'll have a link in the description. Great website, open forums where people discuss their builds and all kinds of stuff. And they actually do fusion with deuterium and how to make deuterium through electrolysis. All kinds of great stuff in there. So I'd highly recommend go checking that out. In the meantime, while this is running, I'm gonna go get some Geiger counter readings. So as you can see right now, we're at about 19 counts per minute at 0.012 millirem per hour. Let me actually switch this to microsieverts. 1 second here. 1 second. Okay, now we're in microsieverts per second. And now just like, as you see, right here, no noticeable radiation difference. So about 13 counts per minute. And I take and put it by this brass fittings. I can see just how radioactive that can get there from the x-rays. I was at about 1,000 counts per minute, 6.5 millisieverts per hour. Same with this brass fitting over here. Alright, there it goes. So as you see, as soon as I pull it away, no radiation. It's only within a couple inches of the reactor. Even against the glass right here, nothing. Even on the bottom here, you're only getting a little bit. So as you can see, it's not too dangerous. Just don't get too close to the fittings. And yeah, that's about it. It's a beautiful glow. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for staying along for this project. It was fun. See you guys next time. Before I completely go, I just wanted to show you guys what kind of power we're using here. Again, I'm running off of 2 car batteries. I don't know if you can see that there. But we have about 23 volts. It's drawing about 3.5 amps. And you see the energy in watts there. So that's the kind of power supply going in. Just to show the reactor. It does look very beautiful with the glow. Anyway, that's about it for this project. I'll see you guys next time.